All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to call the May 20th Council Meeting 2021 to order. Madam Clerk, pledge, please.
Councilman Asbill,
Present.
Councilman Buddy,
Present.
Councilman Chatelain,
Present.
Councilman Johnston,
Present.
Councilman Wheeler,
Present.
Mayor Bodier,
Present.
Police Chief Walker,
Here.
Fire Chief St. Cyr is absent, Finance Director Todd Tunion,
Present.
City Attorney Scott Stansberry is absent,
He had a family emergency.
and Municipal Clerk Nicole Lee is present.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to, excuse me, amend the agenda to add Mr. Serge Villanova with the Harahan Music Festival as special presentations number 1.
Have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to make Serge Villanova, move him to number 1 in special presentations. Can I have a second? Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Is amended.
Mr. Mayor, move to amend the agenda to add Mayor's report under special presentations number 2.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to move Mayor's presentation to number 2. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Agenda is amended.
Mr. Mayor, move to add calling for a special meeting under communications.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to call for a special meeting.
Second.
Second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. You have a date and time on that meeting, Councilman Asbill?
Yes, sir. It is Monday, May 24th at 5 p.m.
5:24, 5 p.m.
The only agenda item will be proposed ordinance 2020 what is it? 8, the amended development agreement, 2021-8, which is the amended development agreement for the colonial development. Yeah,
Okay, we have a and we'll wait, yep.
we're gonna do it when we get over there.
Councilman?
Mr. Mayor.
You want to make a motion?
Oh. I move to amend the agenda to take up ordinance 2020-9. 2021-9, are we sure? 2021-9, before resolutions.
Councilman Asbill, can we take that up now? As soon as we vote, can we take it now?
We can.
Okay, and prior president, the reason why we're asking is because our energy rep's here, and this is an energy ordinance, and he needs to get tonight because they need to be prepared just in case of bad weather. The weather gets worse. So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler to take up ordinance 2021-9 right now. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. All right, you ready? Let's go.
All right, 2021-9.
You good to go?
Okay,
Hey, good
the-
evening, everybody, and thanks again for having me. I'm Patrick Hanby on behalf of Entergy Louisiana. We had met last month to review the franchise agreement that is before you, slightly amended now, that basically, or essentially, gives Entergy the right to use the public right-of-way to provide electric service to the city of Harahan, and speeds up efficiencies and processes when we have to replace poles or put any other facilities, obviously working through your permit department and everything else to make sure everything is safe and efficient to continue to provide, reliable electric service. The amendment that we made this time versus last time, the franchise fee historically has been 2.5%. The previous document was at 2.0%. So I adjusted that back up to 2.5 to keep everything exactly the same as it has been for the past multiple decades, and it's now before your review, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Council discussion?
I have, I've had an opportunity to look at it, and I believe we need to critique it a little bit more. There's no, it's a pretty one-sided agreement, in my opinion. It provides rights and privileges to Entergy without any deliverables by Entergy. It doesn't even say y'all will sell electricity to us, at least as best I can tell. You guys have a termination for cause provision. We don't have a termination for cause, but it would be moot because you have no deliverables. So we'd like an opportunity, I'd like an opportunity to maybe meet with Councilman Asbill and our city attorney, who could not be here tonight, go over it and maybe compare this to another community, and maybe Jefferson parishes, and see if there are any standard reasonable provisions that we should include in here.
Okay. Are there any questions that I can answer? I know the Louisiana Public Service Commission, you talked about deliverables, regulates us, and they have their general orders about reliability, outages, storm restoration, all
See,
of those deliveries.
There's nothing in here about maintenance standards. I drive down River Road, and I'm not here to criticize Entergy, but I drive down River Road, Riverside, and I see some poles hanging with transformers on them, and I wonder, what the standard is on how much of a degree off of vertical there should be before the pole is repaired. There's nothing in here about any maintenance standards. Maybe we need to do that, incorporate by reference to state statute.
Gotcha.
But again, there's no deliverables whatsoever. You have no duty even to sell us electricity. We have an obligation to let you come in for 25 years and operate and sell electricity. But so I think we just need to look at it, and I'd like to get some comment from the city attorney. If Councilman Asbill would agree to participate, I'd appreciate it.
So the maintenance and the regulations and everything is handled separate by separate agencies. This is basically, to boil it down, gives us the right to use the right-of-way that the public has here in the streets to provide our facilities to.
Yeah, and I don't
electric
have any
service.
disagreement with that.
Okay.
I mean, we know you need to do it, and this covers it in great detail. At least I do. That's just my opinion.
The maintenance and stuff's gonna be handled more through the Public Service Commission, because he's gonna wanna make sure they regulate up to the standards.
That may be,
That'd be totally separate from this.
well, this puts obligations on the city. It's a franchise agreement, but there's no obligations in here referenced on Entergy. So my thoughts are that we defer and have an opportunity to meet with the city attorney, and look at what Jefferson Parish has and try to get something that is a fair document. That's just my thoughts. That's my comment.
I got you. I can speak to Jefferson Parish. So these franchise agreements
Patrick,
historically.
can you speak in the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? Can you hear me now?
No,
Yeah?
is it on?
It's on.
Oh.
It's on.
Is that better?
Yes.
There we go. I just got to bend over. Sorry about that. So the history about the franchise agreements, as cities are built and electrification is required, we will come and work with different communities. Jefferson Parish, I believe, has a 99-year franchise agreement, and it's 3 or 4 of them that it was piecemealed in as the communities were developed, and we just followed the demand, back in the day. So you will see some language in there that is outdated and doesn't really make sense in today's world. This one is just the nuts and bolts, which has the most important part, the 2.5% franchise fee, which is what we collect through bills on behalf of the city for your operating budget, which was about $200,000 last year.
I guess what I'm missing is the standards that you guys maintain your system. Let's just say that. Is there a maintenance standard, and should there be one in this agreement, that you're gonna sell electricity? First of all, I think it should say you will sell electricity to the residents, and I don't believe it says that. And it would seem like it would be fair to say there's a maintenance standard, whatever that standard is, that you guys adhere to, that we can expect. I don't know, there's probably 1,000 things y'all look at, the age of a pole, the lean of a pole, whatever. Again, I'm just saying it's absent, and it seems like there should be something in here in a franchise agreement.
I understand. And Councilman Chatelain was right on target. We're, a regulated entity, and the regulating authority is the Louisiana Public Service Commission. So they have various orders and rules that are in place that are the ones that tell us how to maintain and how frequent and the reliability targets that we must hit from a state level as well. They're the ones that have the jurisdiction and the authority to implement that. And it's always a process that's open for public hearing, and they have interveners, and they go through an administrative law judge process, and then the 5 members of the Louisiana Public Service Commission vote on it and issue orders. And this, again, is not, it's separate from that. All it is, that maintaining that existing right that we have now to use your right-of-way, and also to keep that 2.5% franchise fee in place,
This is just a land use agreement.
essentially.
No, it is that. It is that. I think it's more. I mean, I've made my comments.
Okay.
I mean, it says that y'all are gonna do certain things. You're gonna distribute, deliver, sell, and supply in such manner as you choose electric service throughout the municipality. It doesn't say you're gonna do it. It's really, I think it's lacking. That's my
I
thought.
got you. And it's probably because the things you're looking for are independent and separate. So we have an obligation to serve because we're a regulated monopoly. There's no choice in Louisiana. So that is, again, a Louisiana Public Service Commission domain where that's held under as far as the obligation to serve and the reliability and maintenance and everything else.
And I'm sure you're correct. I don't know why that couldn't be in here by reference. But,
Okay.
again, I'm certainly no expert on the Public Service Commission or
Okay.
utility company contracts.
Take a motion to call for a vote.
I'd like to make a motion to defer.
Did we actually open this up for a
Yeah,
public
we
hearing?
should open for public hearing, yeah.
All right, Patrick, we're gonna open it for public hearing. All right, anyone like to come speak up on this ordinance, please come up to the podium, state your name and address at the podium. All right, no one coming to speak, we'll now close public hearing. All right, now we'll go back to council discussion. So we actually have a motion on the floor to call for the vote first.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to call for the vote, with a second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah,
Is that 5 yeas, 0 nays?
4 years.
Okay, 4 yeas, 1 nay. Okay, ordinance passes. And maybe if you have a chance, Patrick, maybe you can get us a set of what the Public Service Commission's guidelines are. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to sit down with each and every one of you, the city attorney. We could even get Commissioner Eric Skrmeta involved, and I know he'd
Is
be
this
happy.
published is it published somewhere, like a?
Yes.
Yeah, if you can get us a copy.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, you can go. You're good. Thank you.
thank you.
Be careful out there.
Yes, thank you. Patrick Hamby is wonderful, y'all. He is on the spot. He's there every time we call for him. I mean, we've been having a lot of power outages lately, we know. But if you look, it's been citywide or bigger than citywide. And when every time we call him, no matter what time, day and night, he's always responsive. And he's actually has a meeting set up with the Harahan Oak Civic Association to go out and meet with them because they feel like they've been having more than frequent power losses. However, they haven't, but they still would like to communicate what could they do better in their neighborhood. So he's going to go meet with them. And so if any of you guys would like to meet with our energy rep, he'd be more than happy to come out. If you want to talk to him, I'll pass the number on to y'all as well.
Just quick, for those standing, if you're looking for a seat, there's 3 or 4 seats up in the front row. If you want to come on up, you're welcome to stand though, if that's what you prefer.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll go back to special presentations.
Alright. Special presentations number 1, Surge Villanova, Harahan Music Festival.
My assistant join me at the podium?
Yes, absolutely.
evening, everyone. Hello again. My name is Serge Villanova, president of Stranded South Music and Media. I'm also director of the Harahan Music Festival and Food Drive.
Hello, my name is Christian Boxdorfer, project assistant for the festival. I'm also a recent graduate of Loyola School of Music and Media, and I'm assisting Mr. Villanova as part of an internship program through the university.
Mayor Baudier, when I first spoke to the council about 2 months ago regarding my idea for a small but significant music festival in Harahan, I said our goals were to provide a fun and safe day of positivity for the community, highlight the city of Harahan as a fun and vibrant place to live and do business, provide work for our talented culture bearers and musicians, and raise monetary and food donations for the local St. Rita Food Pantry. Jason, please. Our headlining act, Bon Bon Vivant at Zerang Park in the background, Stiggy Snowballs. A wonderful day. Well, with the help of your team, Mayor Baudier, and with the permission you granted us to implement our creative vision, we accomplished everything we set out to do and very much more, in my opinion. Taking a completely grassroots approach without any corporate sponsorships, we sought assistance from literally every aspect of this great community, from its citizens and local business owners to council members and law enforcement departments, to produce the first Harahan Music Festival and Food Drive, raising over 1,100 food items for the St. Rita Food Pantry. Jason, please. Andre Lovett, an incredible New Orleans musician with some of his adoring fans. Christian, would you please tell us of some of the great things that were said to us directly by concert attendees and members of the community regarding our event?
Absolutely. One of the concert goers at My Brother's Bar said, "We need more of this in Harahan." One of our sponsors wrote in an email, "Good luck and glad to have someone like yourself doing this in Harahan." Also, "This city needs something like this," said an attendee at My Brother's Bar. And "I can't believe Bon Bon Vivant is playing here. I love this band," said a music lover at Zerang Park.
Thank you, Christian. Again, with hands-on assistance from most of the people in this room, we successfully set a framework for how future events can be executed at Zerang Park. I believe we proved that the area is sizable enough for legitimate entertainment events, and that the plans prepared by the Harahan Police Department under Chief Tim Walker regarding parking, crowd flow, and overall safety and supervision were effective and would remain so with a larger attendance. Now, Christian, can you please tell us of some of the criticisms that were communicated to us also by our attendees, please?
Yes, a few attendees said that they had no idea this was going on until today. "I didn't see anything about this festival," a music enthusiast said at My Brother's Bar. "Did y'all advertise?" a curious concert goer asked at Bienvenue.
Thanks, Christian. The last slide, please, Jason. Together, we raised over 1,100 food items for the St. Rita Food Pantry and $300. But more than anything, aside from helping those in need, I hope this event exemplified that the voices and creative skills of our Louisiana musicians should always be tapped into and amplified, directing that power toward the betterment of our communities and, when possible, assisting in the stability of our economy. And under no circumstance should those voices or talents be censored or silenced into retreat. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions about the festival?
We attended, it was great.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think it's a great start.
Yeah, I think it's a great start. I'm looking forward to the next one, whenever that may be. I think we can expand it a little bit.
Appreciate all y'all's help, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. We
appreciate you. All right, some of the planning and zoning members had reached out to me a while back, and they made the recommendation that we start doing and showing some of the residents in Harahan what we have been doing. Instead of just talking about it up here, we're gonna try to add a visual aspect to some of the work that we've done this month. And I'll show you where we've been and what we've been up to. Okay, this is Wilson Street in Roseland. When we try to fix things, or when I try to fix things or set the task to do something, we try to fix them the right way. I don't try to Band-Aid anything that we try to do. So when we took this piece of sewer pipe out the ground, it had 7 clamps on it. That means it's been unearthed 7 times. That means we paid someone 7 times to dig it up and fix it. So what we did was we decided to replace it. And you can see in the first picture right there, there's about 6 or 7 layers of asphalt, which is probably about this thick, sitting on sewer infrastructure, which really doesn't have a chance. When I ran for office, some of the residents on Roseland actually were having a drainage issue. The rain was coming down off the 400 block of Roseland and hitting the 500 block of Roseland, and one was higher than the other, so it was kind of skimming over the drains. The engineers and I did extensive homework. We looked up every plan we possibly could find, and even at the time, the engineers and I came to the conclusion that there had to be a drain line here at some point. We couldn't find it on any map anywhere. But as we unearthed this, we actually found 2. This one we actually sealed up and abandoned, but one on the other side of the street we actually put back into commission, and it just made a better situation to keep drainage there. And the unique part about Roseland is that there's a manhole on Roseland in the 500 block that's very shallow. So when it floods, that manhole fills up with water, and then sewer comes back out into the street. And then now you're dealing with the EPA and the DEQ, and we don't really want them here. So we're trying to do everything we can to fix that. And if you look at the third picture, that's what it looks like when we're trying to bypass through someone's yard. The whole Wilson Street project that we're working on right now is it's actually on the entire length of the street. We're looking to put in a whole new sewer line, rehab a lift station, and connect up a whole complete different line to the plant. So I don't know if people don't really understand that the entire city goes through one lift station. If the lift station 8 shuts down, there's no one in the city of Harahan will be able to flush their toilet. So what we're doing here is we're working on a project that at least divide the city in half. Have the north side of the highway basically going to the lift station 8, have the south side of the highway going through to lift station 6. It's about a $1.8 million project, and that's expensive when the city only has a $6 million budget. But we're working on that. Next slide. All right, so here's some situations that we've come across. This was actually a manhole that was covered up in the street, and having access to the manholes is incredibly important because it helps us find, it helps us troubleshoot. So we unearthed that manhole and raised it, put a new cover on it. So now we have a new access point to get in to find problems that are a little closer. And when you can find the problems closer to you, that's a whole lot less money that has to be spent on sending cameras down those lines or getting jets in those lines. It's all measured by distance when you're doing sewer work. The second picture is a slide where I see this all over Harahan. It is illegal to build permanent fixtures on your servitude, but this one's unique that it's actually built on top of a manhole. And the crazy part is that the yard is deteriorating, and we spent hours and hours trying to find this manhole. And we tracked it, and we finally got close enough to determine, all right, look, there's got to be something under this shed, right? And sure enough, that's where it was, under the shed. So the neighbor has been so gracious. She's going to take the shed down. We're going to have access to that manhole, and we're going to fix her sewer issues. The third picture is what we pull this out of our pumps a lot. So every lift station, which we have 15 of, has usually 1 to 3 pumps operable. Just so you know, flushable wipes are not flushable. Don't flush them. It's the worst thing ever, because that's what happens when flushable wipes go into a pump. And usually to repair a pump's probably around 15 to 17 grand. To replace a pump is about 30 to 35 grand. That's your money. That's your tax dollars going into that. I mean, we've pulled Nerf guns out. We've pulled fence boards out, tennis shoes out of the sewer line. I have no idea how to get down in there, but it's the strangest thing I've ever seen. But the biggest hang-up that we've had this year is flushable wipes. And if anyone wants to come on a field trip with me, I'd be happy to take them, because you can pop open any manhole during an active day and watch flushable wipes just pour into the manholes. It's just not good for our system, and I really wish they would do it. And it's not just us, just so you know. This is a countrywide phenomenon problem, and everybody's dealing with it. So what we do here, so this is so what we're doing now is we're working with some people from the Pontchartrain Conservatory, and what we're doing is we're noticing how the river has effects on Wilson. It mainly happens from Lift Station 5, which is Harahan Oaks, to Cazas, okay? And so what we're doing is we're rehabbing all the manholes. So as we're rehabbing a manhole, we had a guy in there, so you plug it so the sewer doesn't come in. So we had a guy in there with a geologist at that time, and they measured it by the temperature of the water. And so what we're noticing is that when the river comes up, it's surcharging the system or really flooding the system because the water table is incredible in the ground, and it's filling up our manholes, which is making the capacity to the plant have to work with, it's pushing in more water than should be there. So what we're doing is we're going back, and we are working on right now, I think, rehabbing about 13 or 14 manholes on Wilson Street, and that's what they look like. Normally it's just brick and mortar, and then, brick and mortar is porous so it can see through. So now what we're doing is we relining them with a concrete mix to where the water can't seep through, and we don't pull infiltration up. Also, too, the hardest part about infiltration and the worst thing in our entire system, even worse than flushable wipes, is sand. So when we pull sand into our lawn in a broken pipe, it goes right into the digesters and aerators in the plant and just crushes them. So we believe if we can get this Wilson Street project fixed, we can eliminate, I'm going to be willing to say, better than 75% of the sand. What the guy in slide 1 is doing right there is they're getting ready to inflate a liner and drop it in a pipe. And what it is, it's like a fiberglass polymer. They inflate it with air. They run the fluid down. It seals it to the side of the pipe, and it helps us in not having to replace a pipe. Now, technology has changed a lot, and wherever we can do this, it is the cheaper way to go. And I try to be so frugal with the city's money. So when I can take the best and cheapest at the same time, we usually take that direction. All right, so this is real unique. We were studying Wilson Street, and we know we have some issues there, and we were working with the Pontchartrain Conservatory and trying to figure out some issues that they had with the lake and seeing what the river, how it affects them. And so we told them, they were studying fault lines, and we went to them and we said, hey, you know what? We have a fault line in Harahan. It's on Wilson Street. I'm positive this has got to be a fault line, right? No matter what we do to fix this, we cannot repair it. And so they came in and they did a bunch of studies, and they realized that it's not a fault line, it's a sand issue. And so we're figuring out ways to cure that now, and it can be cured with clay. And so we're working on that. And what the first picture is they're taking temperature of the water. This is something I learned really cool. So as we plug the lines, the water's still coming in, still flowing in from the sides of the pit. And because the water table's so high, river water is freezing cold. And that's the first way to measure it. Wow, is it river water? So being river water, don't get me wrong, that's not a good thing. But when it is river water, it opens us up to a whole unique, brand new set of grants. And that's how we repair things in Harahan. We work real hard. We go after as much grant money, capital outlay money as we possibly can. And that's them. They're actually working in the plant because we've had tons of questions with the Colonial subdivision, re-subdivision, and with the ADA. We're hearing a lot, while the plant can't handle it, the plant can't handle it. But when I took office, the prior administration had allowed Colonial to connect to the manhole right in front of Riverside Academy. And so, it doesn't really matter what anybody did in the past. What it is it's mine now. So we immediately went to the plant. We immediately pulled down wells. I immediately learned what a digester and an aerator and a belt press is supposed to look like. And just to see what kind of structure we had in our plant, and was it feasible to repair our own plant and control our own destiny. I've come to the conclusion that it is. I don't want to bore into Jefferson Parish's plan. I think it's something that we should maintain and control ourselves. We still got some work to do. We got a lot of infrastructure money coming down that we'll work on that plant, and we'll get that plant up to par. It can handle the capacity of the city, even with the worst case scenario that if Colonial built out every inch of its property that legally it can do, that plant can handle that. So what we do in getting this money is that we're up in Baton Rouge. So every Tuesday we'll be in Baton Rouge. This is Councilman Asbill actually bringing the Young Marines up. That was an incredible day. We got to go on the House floor and the Senate floor and get introduced. It was what a wonderful day. The middle picture is us with Governor Edwards. And I want to let you know, these two guys, Senator Talbot and Representative John Ilg, man, I have never seen people work for this city like they work for us. Just in reference, we had our capital outlay strip the other day, And so we go back up Tuesday, and I mean, we really giving them a hard time getting our capital outlay back on House Bill 2. And they got it back on. Not only did they get it back on, they got us an additional $50,000 on another House bill, and then they got us, and then on the way back Tuesday, I get a call from Senator Talbot saying, hey, listen, we know that you need some repair at the fire station. We know that the roof is leaking and you have a real bad mold problem. I'm gonna get you an additional $250 for that. I didn't really, as a councilman, understand what Baton Rouge meant, but as a mayor, I figured it out. I mean, I know the Speaker of the House, the governor, I'm in and out of the Capitol, you know, man, all day long, every Tuesday, and it's so beneficial to the city to have a voice there. It's just been incredible. People want to be a part of every opportunity that you can bring to them. People want to have a reason to help, and so we go there and we try to educate them on what the reasons are to come help Harahan. I know sometimes as citizens we look at Harahan and we go, man, you know, I don't get it, or maybe it's a mess, but compared to other cities, we're in a top echelon of cities here. And we really work hard, myself and the council, and all the councilmen have been up there with me. Every one of these councilmen go up and do it, and I mean, it's a whole day affair. I mean, you got to give up a whole day of your life to get up there and work. But we're creating incredible relationships, and that's what really building bridges is all about. You know, create relationships, which ultimately turns into, you know, a financial dividend. This is me with Lieutenant Governor Nungasser and Tim Falcon from the NOLA Gold with Jen Van Branken and the Canadian Consulate, I'm sorry. And they actually Canada came down and played a game here at the NOLA Gold. And so it was great to go out and see them, great to go out and meet the Canadians. Canadian National is actually working us bring our railroad fare in. Jefferson Chamber had an event, evening with the legislatures where I gave a presentation at. That was incredible. Again, it's just being there. And, you know, and Lieutenant Governor actually has a real soft spot in his heart for Harahan. He loves it here. He's been here several times. We're looking at trying to find a solution to do something on a river, maybe, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the River Center, but here in Harahan, we've constantly been worried about pollution in the river. What is the air quality? Why is the air quality what it is? Well, if we can get some kind of stationing set up on that river, we can actually get in and start studying, and even sometimes just being there almost creates a policing effect. And so we're going to continue to work with Lieutenant Governor on whatever he may need. And last but not least, Cornerstone has taken a big interest in Harahan. Believe it or not, we have quite a few citizens here in Harahan that work in Cornerstone, and they're going to contribute to our No Limits playground, which I think will be an incredible success if we can make it happen, if we can make it come to fruition. But I think we're very close. The city's been looking real good, and people want to be a part of a positive story. This was just this morning. We're actually out this morning in the rain, clearing drains with the Jefferson Parish delegation. Michelle Gonzalez, right in the middle, holding the certificate right there, she's actually a Harahan resident. And so we were out cleaning drains, and you know what? This is one thing I'm so very thankful of. Blue Flash, which is the truck back there, Kelly Cazzo, she is actually her business is here. And I mean, this lady is boots on the ground with me 24/7, anytime, day and night. It does not matter. She is there, and she is an incredible asset to the city. If any of y'all ever see her, please thank her, because she's amazing. Well, while we're out, if you see what happens is, this is my maintenance worker, Gary. It's the maintenance manager, Gary. We're in this pipe right here, and we're just cleaning drains, and noticed that there was a little sinkhole sitting on the side of this pipe. And we noticed that it wasn't draining upstream, so we got in there, and the pipe was actually crushed. So we got in there, and we cleared the pipe. I'm pretty sure that pipe is replaced by this evening. When I ask for things to be done, I'm a do it now kind of guy. We don't put it off. We get it done. And so that neighborhood's been having issues. There's some trees on top of some drainage lines that we're working on right now, but we've been really working hard trying to pull it down. If you see the house back there, it sits kind of low. And so having that water moving is real important to keep that flow. But little things like this will flood somebody's property right away. This is us at the concert. It was a great, thank you so much, Serge, for doing this for my city, in our city. It was so wonderful to have it. We were the first to have a festival post-COVID, which has been incredible. We'll also be the first to have a parade post-COVID, and that'll be on May the 30th at 1 o'clock. That's going to be so much fun. And then my new favorite is going to be the farmers market that we're bringing back. Yes, that'll be on June 6th. I met with them today, and we got everything nailed down. So we'll be back here in the parking lot. Christine is the lady I'm working with. She's incredible, and she's going to bring a lot of good, cool things to the market. I first started attending the Germans Farmers Market down at the end of River Road. If you haven't been there, it's incredible. Y'all, they have some ladies serves hot tamale balls, which is the best thing you've ever had in your life, right? And so I'm hoping that they come out to my market or our market, I should say. And so it should be fun. It'll be fun. I think they got a DJ lined up. It'll be a grand opening. It'll be a ribbon cutting, and I mean, we welcome everyone to come out and join. It'll really be fun. So John Curtis is where my children went to school. But it's, you know, they're playing on our playground. They made it all the way to the state tournament. This is a great group of kids. It's a great school. You know, we call it our Park of Champions because we truly are working as hard as we can to bring Harahan back to what it once was. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, you were the cream of the crop if you got to play at Harahan Playground. And me and the playground director and this council has supported me in a lot of projects and a lot of money that I've spent there to bring this playground back up to speed. And we're working real hard, so definitely thank you, John Curtis. If you see, there was thousands of people at the Brother Martin tournament. And that's important because when these people leave those tournaments, they go visit our restaurants, and they stay here and they buy gas. That's really important to have people come into our city. That's Brother Martin bowling team right in the middle. Their home is Colonial Club. And Councilman Chatterling, did they win that state championship? Yes. They did win the state championship. And then, of course, we have the Dominican girls that play on the girls' field. Now, this is where Councilman Chatterling and I have spent most of our efforts repairing this field. And if you have a chance to go back out, all the councilmen been in it with me. It's been incredible. Councilman Chatterling is also the president of the HAA, so he drives me a little bit. And but we worked real hard to repair this field. We are so proud of the field. We're working on other fields, and having great partners like Curtis and Dominican, I think, will ultimately get us there. And then that's what we did this month. So we hope everyone likes the reports. It's something that I'd like to do. It's a great visual for what's going on, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Chief Walker.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, viewing public. Tim Walker, Harrington Police Chief. Last year, when Hurricane Laura struck the Lake Charles area, the Louisiana Chiefs Association put out a call for help. Several cities in that area needed assistance. And several of our officers, Sergeant David Mitchell, Officer John Dunning, and Officer Nick Schneider answered the call and spent close to a week up in DeRidder, Louisiana, assisting the DeRidder Police Department. This past week, I received a nice plaque of appreciation from the DeRidder Police Department Police Chief Richard, and again, appreciation for our service, for our people being up there helping them for about a week. Okay. Our website, Harahan Police Department, is up and running, www.harahanpd.com. Our stats and our arrest reports are on there along with other information. And then remind you about the drug take-back box in our lobby. It's open 24/7. Any unwanted medications or over-the-counter drugs that you don't need. And last, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about the Harrington Parade coming up, because that's...
Yes, sir. Well, Harahan Parade will start at 1 o'clock on May 30th. As of now, we have the Lieutenant Governor is going to be the Grand Marshal. We have Senator Kennedy actually going to try to make it down and ride in his pickup truck. We have a few of the Jefferson Parish councilmen. Also, Treasurer John Schroeder is actually going to come down. I mean, let me tell you guys, we got eyes on us right now, and it's our time to shine. And we really need to do it. Chief Walker and his assistant, his police chief, has been really working their tails off trying to make sure that we have the security and the safety that we need. And Chief, you want to add? Please go ahead.
Well, we hope the weather's nice. It's 1 o'clock on Sunday, May 30th. We're in a neighborhood of 90 to 100 officers. We have ordered out to Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, St. Charles Sheriff's Office, Gretna Police Department, Kenner Police Department, and Westwego Police Department, wait for them to come back with how many officers they can lend us for that day. But it should be a big event, and it's going from Horde Street to Kendall Lane up on Jefferson Highway, making a U-turn coming back on the eastbound side of Jefferson Highway when it gets to Colonial, it's gonna turn back to the side that heads west. So that day, Sunday, May 30th, Jefferson Highway, both sides of the highway will be closed from basically around Hodge Street by the truck stop to Full Street. So if you live in that area, make some arrangements if you want to get out beforehand, because certain areas of the city are going to be blocked off for vehicle traffic. Probably closer to 12:30. We will have ample units in the area to cover those areas, such as Jefferson Highway from Normandy to Colonial, because y'all kind of blocked in there, and then someone is on the north side of the highway also. But we're making preparation for it. Hopefully it's a good day and there's no major problems. So see you there. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
So when we started discussions of this parade a few months back, the first person I met with was a chief, and our paramount, number one concern is safety. We want to keep everybody in the city safe no matter what. But we think this will add an economic impact to the businesses that actually stayed open for us. And I don't know if you guys are aware, we didn't lose any business during COVID. We actually gained 7. And we worked very hard, this team and myself and some of my staff members actually went out and we made relationships with different banks and the SBA and the LED, and we made packets for every business and we walked them out. And it was some we had to push into it a little bit, but we need to start applying for these grants. But of course, I've never seen this in my lifetime, and I'm sure most of you haven't either. And so we got people to start pressing and moving and start applying for this money. And their number one concern is what will we do with it? If we don't use it, we'll give it back. It's simple. And so like I said, we gained 7, and now we have one of our businesses who expanded, and that's Smoked, and he is now cooking for the Saints, the Pelicans, and the NOLA Gold. Again, we have some unique stuff here, and we really need to continue to build on it. Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on April 15th.
Move to dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Second.
Okay, public hearing is now open. Anyone talk about the minutes? All right, no one coming forth. Public hearing is now closed. I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Johnson, to dispense with the reading of the minutes. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
And approval of the minutes of the council meeting on April 15th.
Move to defer the approval of the minutes to next month's meeting.
Okay, anyone want to come to the podium to speak about a deferral on the minutes from the past council meeting? No one coming forth. We will now close public hearing. We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to defer. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Minutes are deferred. Till next meeting. Madam Clerk.
All right, and communications,
Special meeting.
yeah.
Okay.
Calling for a special meeting on Monday, May 24th at 5 p.m. for proposed ordinance number 2021-8.
That would be enough time with,
Which-
that would be enough time with advertisements?
Yeah, since nothing's being. Yeah, I don't think it would be
What was that date again? What was that date?
Monday.
May 24th, yeah, at 5 p.m. And it's for proposed ordinance number 2021-8, which is an ordinance authorizing the approval, adoption, and execution of that certain amended and restated development agreement for the residential and commercial redevelopment of the former Colonial Golf and Country Club by and between JW Colonial Group LLC and the City of Harrington.
Let me, if I can just kind of explain the purpose of this. The idea is that we've got several amendments to the development agreement that was presented. So we're not going to be voting on that tonight. However, we want to get those amendments in and voted on as quick as possible so that we can get a clean copy to the public to review before the June meeting. So the plan is to have a special meeting on Monday, make amendments in the public meeting to the amended development agreement, publish a clean copy, and lay it over until the June meeting for the public to review and have more input.
Okay. So, and the reason that Councilman Asbill is asking for this is because we attended the planning and zoning meeting, and I honestly think it was maybe been one of the most productive planning and zoning meetings that we've had, especially due to the Colonial. And a lot of really great new ideas have come to light, and the developers have also, and they agree with us, that some really cool ideas have happened, such as we know, one of the concerns is that the ingress egress on Colonial. So we're going to talk to them now, and now they're actually talking to us about putting a road in from the highway. That's just one of the great things that we're working on. I know a resident reached out to me and asked me, they were concerned, and I told them come tonight because I have some great news. And here's the great news is that engineering studies have been funded for pump to the river. So we'll get our own pump to the river. Colonial has been so gracious as to give up this property to add this pump on. If it happens, if we can push it through, in which we think it looks pretty good. And when I campaigned years ago, I talked and I knocked on the doors of Glenwood, okay, McHugh, Donellan, Sedgefield, Imperial Woods, and I said that I would do everything in my power to find a solution to keep you guys from flooding. And I think we might, if this pump to the river comes through for us, it'll take a little bit more outside of it to get some drainage, some pipes to get to these streets to get us there. So we'll take a little bit of work for the citizens if this does happen, and we will have a real answer. We're trying to get the state involved right now because we believe in, a lot of people say, well, the culverts need to be enlarged so we can push the water to the other side of the highway. The truth is that's just going to flood the other people on the other side of the highway. We need to get that water over that levee. Other communities are doing it. There's one right in River Ridge. And I honestly think it might be one of the greatest things that has happened to Harahan and its flooded streets, if not one of the greatest thing that ever happened. And I will fulfill a promise that I made to people that I knocked on their doors and that were very concerned about this. And I don't want to get overly excited about it because I don't have the check in my hand, but it's hard not to be. So that's the really great news that I have. And I think it's, again, Jefferson Parish is incredible. We are in such a unique time of history that we are so fortunate to have representatives in the state and the parish, and even federally with Congressman Scalise and Senator Kennedy, that they really want to be a part of a growing progressive community where it shows promise. And so that's the great news I have for you guys, and I really think that we're really onto something here. And I want to thank everybody for their patience. I know people don't always agree with me, and that's okay. I'd love for them to all help me. Let's get through this Colonial deal. Let's not pick off old scabs. Let's move forward, and then go back to just not liking me after. But let's try to get through this because we can do this as a community. We have to think here. We had an opportunity to have a casino. People didn't want it. It got voted down. We wouldn't even be having to talk about the golf course because I guarantee you it would have been there forever. We had a developer come in that wanted to put a high rise in the back and put an executive non-hole. They were chased off. We had another gentleman come in after that and wanted to develop just the front 15 and keep the rest green. Again, he was chased off. Now we're here where we are. So we are progressively losing green space as we move down the line of these plans. And I think at some point we have to choose to work with somebody. One of the owners from Colonial actually grew up in Harahan, and I don't know how much more he's one of us, and I think that we need to spend the time to try to listen to him, talk to him, communicate with him. I don't care what time of day and night I call him, he answers, and I know that he'll do the same for you. And so I think it's time for the city to move forward and understand where we are with Colonial, and let's all work together to come to a common goal.
All right. So, I just want to speak on this meeting. I have no problem with 5 o'clock, but like I told you earlier, Councilman Asbill, that I have somewhere to go, so I have to leave for 6 if it's not over with by then. So
Yes, sir.
I just want to let everybody know.
Thank you.
I've got to leave for 6.
Move to open the public hearing on the
Okay, so
calling for a special meeting.
Second.
we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler, open for public hearing. Anyone who wants to speak about the change in communication to have this meeting on Monday? Okay, no one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Yeah, just point of privilege real quick. So if you're here tonight, on the Colonial issue, we are going to be deferring it completely tonight. You're more than welcome to stay and speak on the ordinance, if you'd like. But the meeting on Monday will also be only be amendments. We will not be adopting the agreement as amended. It will only be amendments to that agreement, and again, it's gonna lay over until the June meeting for you to, come to the city hall and get a copy and review it if you like.
Guys, I would love for y'all to stay and address us tonight. It'll help us for Monday.
Agreed, yeah.
Can we move address the council forward?
I think the ordinance is coming up pretty quickly.
Two up.
Yeah,
Yep.
next two.
We'll be quick. All right, you ready? Madam Clerk, resolutions?
All right. Proposed resolution number 2021-5. The following resolution was offered by Councilman Asbill. A resolution of the Harahan City Council in opposition of all proposed legislation, particularly Louisiana House Bill number 609 of the 2021 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature, which strips peace officers of qualified immunity.
Okay, we're now open for public hearing. Anyone want to come up and speak on proposed resolution 2021-5? Go ahead, Chief. Go ahead.
I want to thank the council and the mayor for proposing this. I'm in full support of it.
Got it. Okay. Anyone else? All right, no one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion?
No discussion.
So just like a brief, just to kind of explain what it is. You know, our officers are on the street protecting us on a daily basis, and this is an opportunity for us to be able to help protect them a little bit. Qualified immunity is a legal doctrine that allows officers to do their job without hesitating on critical decisions that need to be made in an instant second, and it won't land them in court the next day with a judge or a jury second guessing a split-second decision that they made. Qualified immunity is not absolute immunity, so if they do something intentionally to harm someone or to destroy someone's property, they will still be held liable civilly for that. There's a movement in the state legislature, surprisingly, that it passed the House of Representatives to remove qualified immunity from police officers. It is working its way through the Senate now, and this is something that we've done before as a council to support or oppose legislation, and this opposes removing qualified immunity from police officers.
Okay.
Officer Bill.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas,
Yes.
0 nays. Madam Clerk?
Thanks, guys.
I don't think we already voted.
Proposed resolution number 2021-6. The following resolution was offered unanimously by the council. A resolution adopting the 2021 millage rates.
Okay, anyone like to come speak about proposed resolution 2021-6? Okay, no one come. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion?
No change in millage rates from last year, correct?
No change? No, sir?
No change. That was my question. I didn't think there was. Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Resolution passes.
And proposed resolution number 2021-7. The following resolution was offered unanimously by the council. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Harahan adopting the 2020 Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire.
Madam Clerk, can you give us a little insight on what compliance questionnaire is defined as? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
Yes, so the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire is a required part of the financial statement audit that the external auditors are working on right now. It's a questionnaire that the Louisiana Legislative Auditor requires of all.
A little closer.
It's a questionnaire that's required of all municipalities to approve in a public meeting and submit to their external auditors.
Got it. Okay, anyone want to come speak on proposed resolution? Did we do that? 2021-7? All right, no one come and speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Chatelain. I have a second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, ordinance for approval.
All right, proposed ordinance number 2021-8. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Chatelain. An ordinance authorizing the approval, adoption, and execution of that certain amended and restated development agreement for the residential and commercial redevelopment of the former Colonial Golf and Country Club by and between JW Colonial Group LLC and the City of Harahan.
Okay, anyone want to come speak on proposed ordinance 2021-8? A lot of people here tonight, so we're going to keep it to 3 minutes, please.
Yeah, no, actually, I just wanted some clarification. So there's a special meeting Monday.
Yes, sir.
Can you state your name and address, please?
Oh, Tommy Hughes, 15 Colonial Lane,
Tom.
sorry.
Okay.
Hey, guys.
All right.
All right, so the special meeting, how's this gonna work? So Monday, is that like it's gonna be introduced then?
No, so Monday, we're gonna take up the ordinance that you see here, 2021-8, and we've got several amendments to make to it.
Okay.
Some of them, technical, and some of them very substantive. And then after we make those amendments, we're gonna defer the actual passage until the June meeting,
Okay.
and publish a clean copy with the amendments.
Great. And Monday is a public?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hey,
Thank you, guys.
just real fast, I want to say thank you, because a part of these amendments are because of you, and it was so nice to have your input, and you were so polite in doing so thank you.
And thank you all, too.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you to Danny. Yeah, you've been great. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Tommy.
Sue Benton, 77 Colonial Club Drive. First, I want to thank Nicole for all of her help, because I've been emailing her for the past over a week, trying to get documents. And I also want to thank the bad actors of the planning and zoning, whose actions really allowed the citizens the time to go through all of this and make our recommendations. Otherwise, it would have been passed. I think, that's my opinion. Anyway, and if Pump to the River gets passed, a lot of what I'm going to say doesn't matter. But I don't see how this development can rely on that. And I don't think that it is. I hope that it isn't. And I'm not here to disparage anyone. I have questions I've asked many, many times to have an engineer here so that we could ask our questions about the drainage study, because I don't understand it. There are things in there that concern me, but maybe they are really not, they shouldn't concern me if they were explained to me, but they haven't been. Drainage and sewerage. I have questions about both of those things. I don't know why that thing keeps doing that. Because what? So I asked for all of these documents from Nicole, and she got me everything. Well, she couldn't get me everything I asked for because many of the things weren't available. But one thing I thought was interesting was that I received two master plans that were very different. And they were both referred to in the drainage studies. And in those drainage studies, the master plan didn't have a lot layout. And again, I'm not an engineer. Maybe you can do a drainage study without a lot layout, but it just seems hard to me. I don't know how you do that. And
Ms. Benton, I'll help you real fast. They can do a drainage study, and the way they do it was worst case scenario. So say every lot restricted by 75 by 120, and they divide that property between every lot that can be 75 by
the
120.
language doesn't say that, though. It doesn't.
I'm just saying that's how they've been done.
Well, I think that language should be in there. And then I have other questions about it. For instance, let me just say about the master plan. It seems to me it would be well, first of all, I read the municipal code as calling for a master plan, and it says if it's in phases, you can develop it in phases, but you should have a master plan. I mean, you can't have two master plans that have different layouts on them. I don't know. It just seems wrong to me. And so the drainage plan, the September 2019 drainage plan,
Go ahead.
specifically says that it does not take into consideration the surrounding 150 acres, which includes the Glenwood side and the Colonial Club side and the streets, the corresponding adjacent streets. That's a concern to me. And the drainage plan that was approved for the Blake and the additional 8 lots specifically said that. And the Harahan Municipal Code, section 86.7, says that planning and zoning city engineer shall require such redesign of street patterns, lot layout, and such other information or plans as the circumstances may warrant as to ensure not only conformance to the aforementioned, but good traffic patterns, proper design, and development of a particular area and appropriate consideration of abutting developments. So, to me, that's common sense. Now, the August drainage plan does specify that it takes into considerations it breaks it into phase 1, phase 2, or area 1, area 2, area 3, and it says that it does take that into consideration, but the September one, which is called amend or revised, specifically says it does not. Wait, there was one other thing. Oh, and I can't remember if it was the September or the August, but it talks about that it's all of the, it was the August, which is the big one. It says that all of the drainage from the surrounding area 1 and area 3 must be somehow gotten to Colonial Club drainage system for their calculations to be correct. That's a problem. I mean, how are y'all going to do that? How are y'all going to get it there? So, I would love on Monday if you could have
Yes,
the
ma'am.
city engineer so
sorry.
we could
You're
ask
correct.
these questions.
I'm sorry, I forgot, but I will do my best to have an engineer Monday.
Okay, and I'm not,
I'll try, yeah, but I will try as hard as I can.
well, someone in their company that,
That's right,
or a civil engineer that could read the plan and help us.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I was walking on Sedgefield, and the people closest to Jefferson Highway have sandbags all the time in
Yeah,
front
I
of their
brought it.
homes.
I brought it to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big concern for the citizens. And
It is for me as
again,
well.
and the sewerage as well. We know we have an old system, we just need some sort of verification from somebody that it's gonna
Yes,
gonna handle everything.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Kelly Kushler. I live at 133 Glenwood, and I've lived there since June of '06. I played golf almost daily after my husband died at the Colonial Golf Course and loved it until Tony Manzello couldn't keep it going, I think 12 years ago, something like that. It's been 10 or 12 years since this has been going on. It's been way too long. He couldn't get the city council to approve 2 beautiful programs that he had set up, maybe 3. They were productive, they were proposed, and we saw them and they were beautiful. Why didn't they come, why weren't they approved? The property was purchased for $8 million by John Georges and Wayne Ducote then, and they tried several beautiful proposed progressive things. And Tim, you've been in all of these projects. You've been there and you know what's happened. You're the one who has all the information. We've seen millions and millions and millions of dollars lost to the city of Harahan for lost sales taxes, lost payroll, property taxes. And that's just not necessary. I mean, we could have had tens of millions of dollars for Harahan if one of those projects in the past had been handled. A few people with a loud voice and fake news, they've been holding this place captive. It's just not right. All they're thinking is about what if. It's not. There's no for sure, but it's what if. We could have had the top of the line sewers. We could have had new streets, equipment for the fire and the police departments, and what else we wanted with all that money. Why didn't we do it? When are you going to decide that Colonial is an asset that is sitting vacant and not productive, and give someone like Danny an opportunity with a yes vote for progress for Harahan and its citizens? It's been long enough. What is your answer for why the blockage has taken this long? You have all the information, so you have the answer. You have the solution. I'm not against you, I'm for you. I know you're doing a great job as our mayor. You've been on the council all this time trying for Harahan to be what it is, and you made it what it is. But we still got a bad name. You know, Harahan Council just blocks everything. And that's what everybody thinks, Harahan Council is doing it. We just need to stop the same mentality that we've had of listening to the loud voices and do something for Colonial that can be productive, benefiting everyone in Harahan. God has wisdom, and he can give it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara LaCour, and I reside at 21 Colonial Lane. With the demise of the Colonial Country Club and the failure to create a public park, I think everybody has accepted the fact that we do want this nice upscale subdivision that the developers are working on. But the city, and especially the citizens who are living adjacent to that subdivision, have a legitimate vested interest to ensure that the development does not have a negative impact on their property and their homes as well. The developers will sell the houses and make their profits, but the citizens in the neighborhood will have to live with any long-term problems if things don't go correctly. That's all we're asking for, that they go the way they're supposed to. Of course, we've talked about this. We need an independent firm to review and verify that the sewage system plan is adequate, not only for the new houses in the subdivision, but we're also talking about the commercial. They have bathrooms too. And also the 118 bathrooms that are at the Blake. Because when things are all said and done, if people's toilets are backing up, it doesn't matter if you're living in a $2 million house or a $50,000 house. The people aren't going to be happy. And you know who they'll go to first? You guys, to complain on the phone at night. You know, you're where the buck stops. We also need an independent firm to review and endorse the drainage plan. We were just under a flash flood warning today, and hurricane season starts June 1st. We don't want to become like areas in New Orleans that always flood. Once again, the council will be the first people that get called if somebody's got water in their house, as you probably already know. There are many homes on Colonial Club Drive that are built near ground level. They could easily flood, especially now that we're losing 88 acres of green grass that used to absorb the water. So the engineers must be certain that we have enough drainage, or else maybe more green space might be necessary on the property to ensure that we do. Maybe, I don't know, with Biden's $3.5 million that we're going to get, maybe the city could buy a few of the lots and make a little park, or at least add more green space that way. For traffic and safety reasons, over 300 residents have signed a petition emphasizing need for a road to Jefferson Highway from the subdivision. Just as no contractor is going to build a house with a front door but no back door, we need an alternative road besides the crumbling Colonial Club Drive, which is already labeled a no truck route with a 5-ton limit. Do you know how much a cement truck weighs? 15 tons.
Move to add 2 more minutes to the latest time.
Okay.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to add 2 more minutes, second by Councilman Miller. All in favor?
Yay.
Okay. With over 100 lots generating an estimated 200 cars or more, if Colonial's the only access road for this subdivision, the inevitable traffic jam is going to make the mornings a nightmare. A secondary road was suggested by the developers along Colonial. That would be crucial in the case of hurricane evacuations, fires, and other disasters. And remember, hurricane season starts in 12 days. Modifications that might be needed on Jefferson Highway on the median for eastbound traffic to get into the subdivision might also be paid for, perhaps with the infrastructure money from the Biden administration as well. So we can look into that. Finally, of course, as people have said, we need a definitive drawing of the master plan, not a bunch of different ideas, but the final definitive drawing to be submitted to planning and zoning. So that it's acceptable to all people. I think you're going to work on that Monday night, which will be great, because then the developers can go through all the various phases of approval they need to make this colonial subdivision a reality. And I think it will be beautiful when it's done. We just want it to be done the right way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry Valenti, 191 Colonial Club Drive. I want to thank Ms. LaCour for that. I agree with her. That was, Ms. LaCour, that was beautifully stated. Thank you so much. Also, thank you, Sue Benton. I know she's been like researching this, and we should all appreciate her time that she spends in looking into this. And I kind of didn't plan on speaking tonight, but I just had like about 4 points, and one was I hope that we will have the city engineer. If you go back and you listen to all of the problems that people have with the development, it's because they don't understand everything, or something's not in black and white, or things that seemingly work against each other can't be explained to us. I agree we want it to be done, but we want it to be done right. But the developmental agreement needs to be firm with everything stated in it. And we worked really hard to get people out here tonight. Y'all are gonna have a different meeting. I hope that we can get word out for people to come to that meeting. But one thing that I did want to ask is it going to go before the zoning committee, again, before it's voted on? Because if there are changes, it seems like it should go back before the zoning. The zoning board, you know, there were new members, y'all know all about that, and I don't know how many of you were there. I know at least 2 or 3 of you were at that meeting. They didn't have enough time to look it over to do their job. And you and they are to protect us, and it just only seems fair that they get a chance to take a look at it and vote on it before it comes back to you. So do we know that? Will it go before the zoning board?
That's not the plan because it's not required by state statute.
So it's not the plan
It's
by
only-
this council.
It's only required to be noticed. This council may decide something else on Monday night. They may move for it to go to the planning and zoning committee. I don't know, but we'll find out Monday night. But it's not required to go back to the planning and zoning. It's only required to be noticed like it was last time for the.
Okay, well, I'm not talking about requirements. I'm talking about fairness.
I understand that, and I don't know what this council's gonna, I can't tell you what this council's gonna do on Monday night.
Well, I mean, obviously y'all talked about the new date, so I would have thought that would have been discussed.
Before I walked in this meeting, I didn't know what we were meeting special about. I got a phone call, asked if I was available on Monday for a special meeting.
Okay.
No
thank
clue
you.
what it was
Do you
about.
think it should go back to the zoning board?
I'll make that motion Monday. I said I'll make that motion
I
Monday.
hear you, Eric. Does anybody have, I mean, Craig went out on a limb and said he believes that it should go back before then. Thank you. Mr. Buddy?
All right, you thumbs up, Mr. Valenti. This is, yeah.
I'm not going to answer your questions. I'm listening, and I'm going to vote Monday.
Thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
I hope that you do decide to, you know, do everything that you can do just to make us feel like everybody's getting an opportunity to look at it that should be looking at it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Michael Preble. I live at 57 OK Avenue. I'm just strictly speaking from self-interest. I would like whatever you do for Monday to be simple, clear, understandable, for it to include endpoints. I'd like to know if they're going to build 75 houses, if they're going to build 150 houses, if they're going to be 5 stories tall, if they're going to be 3 stories tall, if the sewer is going to work. I just want some specificity. I also don't want to lose sight of the fact that Colonial, I went out and measured it, the lanes on Colonial are between 8.5 and 9 feet wide. That's really small. And when you've got TV trucks, movie trucks, construction vehicles moving down those roads, and down OK Avenue as well, you're really loading up a relatively quiet, scenic little neighborhood. And my mother lived there for about 40 years. We moved back and took over her house. And in that time, there's so many more younger families, so many families with children, with dogs, people out walking on streets, on those two streets that have no sidewalks at all, that all this added traffic is just going to be terrible. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I guess I'm coming up. I'm not here under any official capacity, but I've been attending and watching these meetings for a while. And I think the biggest thing here is just lack of communication. I have people calling me, and I heard Ms. Bennett talking about 2 master plans, how many times she had to email Nicole to get information back and forth. And I think the problem is just lack of communication. So that's what I was coming up before to ask about, because it's changed since I've been watching. I'm not against it. I think it's wonderful. It's going to be a great economic impact for the citizens of Harahan, because it's going to increase their bottom line, which makes life better for all of us. But I haven't seen an official plan. I guess what I would like to see is, what is your dream as a developer? How would you like to see this? Is it going to be 130 homes there? Is it going to be just, what is it going to be? I mean, I really don't have the answer to that. And I've been really trying to pay attention a little bit, because I know you don't want to spend money for economic impact surveys or traffic surveys, or how's this going to impact our police? How's it going to impact our fire department, which we already know what our fire rating is? How is this going to impact us as a community? If this plan is supposed to be taking place, I've heard, in the next 6 years, I'm a former school board member. If you're going to be increasing the population, which hopefully we're all looking for young families to come in, that's going to have an economic impact on our school system. So it's not just what we're seeing as a few homes being built and a monopoly board where you put a little 2-story house and you get $200 if you pass go. This has real economic impact. And I think, and I understand you don't want to spend money, but there is an old term that was said, well, before hopefully all of us, but you have to spend money to make money. You're not doing this not to make money. I mean, you're going to come out ahead on all of this. The city's going to come out ahead on all this, and hopefully all the residents will come out ahead on it. But I just don't see, I'm sure you had a lot of preparation and planning, but if you haven't and you're keeping it to yourself without us, I would like to see what your overall dream is. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And it's not just you, because I think they should be demanding a little bit more of you also. I think they should be asking you, come forward with your plan. Show it to us, because I think that would help with a lot of the undertow and everything that I've been having people come to me and saying, sign this, do this, and I'm like, wait, everybody, just slow down. But I think a lot of it is just miscommunication, not enough information out there to let us really fully understand, because these are the people that you want to get on board with your plan. These are the people that you want to get these people on board with the plan, because y'all all want to be reelected one way or another. So I think right now there's a big, and I've heard this is hopefully going to be done in 6 years. Y'all are all elected. How fast does 4 years go by? Goes by really quick, huh, when you're sitting up there. So you just think what kind of economic impact we're expecting to have as a community in 6 years. Where is that going to put us? I haven't heard anything. It should be a wonderful time. And I think it's going to be wonderful. I just want to have a lot more questions answered so that I feel we can all get on board and be together in this wonderful plan and take part of it. Thank you for my time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. I live in 76 OK Avenue. I live in 76 OK Avenue. About 17 years ago, I moved there with my son that is now 21, is handicapped, and I've been living in a neighborhood that is quiet. I mean, you couldn't ask for more. And until maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I am getting water in my house, in my backyard, on the sides of my home. And this didn't happen before. Mr. Jason Asbill, I voted for you the last time. I thought that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yes, I did because I thought you were a lawyer,
I
someone that
am.
was coming in the area with young kids that was going to think for the best interest of Harrington. And everyone is coming in this area, and the plans changing and according with their interests every time. Now we have a new owner. I'm sorry, I don't remember your last name, but the last time you said that you grew up here playing with frogs. That means that all this area was probably very green and very, very nice. Well, now you are planning, I think the last time I heard that Mr. Jason Asbill, you want to increase the number of buildings from maybe homes from 50 to 150?
I
Or
wanna do what?
I heard that you were involved in the plan of adding more homes to the,
I've got nothing to do with how many homes they put on that property.
okay.
That's
Well,
nothing to do with how many homes they put
I
on that
guess
property.
previously was 50, now it's going to be 150 homes, or maybe
You'd have to
more.
ask the developer how many,
Well,
I don't place
well,
homes on properties.
Well, let's think about this. We have kids that need green area. We need trees. We need grandkids that are going to have some nature. How do you think we are going to survive if we keep building and building and relying on pumps? The next thing is that we're going to flood in this area, not because the river, but in this area, because the pumps sometimes may not even work for us. How much concrete we're going to pour in this nice city? Let's think about this, please. It's not because Colonial is the only street. I live in 76 OK, which is in the other side. And the water is going to go somewhere. You know, people are building and building, cutting trees and getting, it's the only area I see. If you go to Uptown, I don't think they cut the trees the way they do. They have Audubon Park for them. Kenner has Lafreniere Park. Harahan has this tiny playground and tiny park for all our kids. How many kids are in Harahan? I see the school is going to have more and more kids because more people are moving in the area. Because how many people where they are going to live in the new homes, let's multiply. How many cars? And not all that. Someone mentioned about toilets. How many toilets will be in to flush and every day so much water? Pollution. Mr. Baudier, we elect you thinking that you are going to bring some change in the area. Please talk to your council members, Mr. Challonan, Mr. Barry, Mr. Johnston. You have been here for a while. You have seen all these discussions about the golf course I mean, nobody's happy with this. Please do something for us. You were elected because we want something in this area. We want a quiet neighborhood. We cannot sell and leave like other people are doing in the area. We are not everyone is rich and can buy a home in another area and leave. Can you do something that will benefit everyone? Please at least keep some green area that in the beginning, I think at the plan they had in the middle of this golf course.
All right, thank you very much.
Do something
I do
you
want to
can
come
do
out.
it as a mayor.
I do want to come out. I want to come see your flooding problem. I'm gonna come check it out. You know, because if you're flooding, I want to make sure there's nothing stopped up
Yes.
around you, no drains blocked, stuff like that. I mean, you're right on the spot of a problem. It really has nothing to do with Colonial. It's the drainage system in your area.
Well-
But I will come out. I promise you that, and we'll see if we can figure out why you're getting water.
Well, I sent a picture this afternoon with an email to the council members today.
Okay.
So if you look in that email, you will find information.
Got it. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Ms.
Thank you.
Marcel.
I wanted to speak. My name's Stephen Roquez, 167 OK Avenue. I just want to hope and pray that the council and the city has a backup plan if you cannot come through with Pump to the River. And I appreciate the developer working with you guys to give you guys a right of way, so that could potentially happen. But I just hopefully want to emphasize that I don't think a maybe is good enough to solve the problem, and hopefully y'all have a backup plan or alternate routes that y'all can pivot to, both you and the developer, to kind of solve the solution for everyone. And you know, I just don't think a maybe is good enough for the city personally. And I understand everyone else's frustrations. I've sat through 2 years of some of these meetings or watching them, and I remember even coming and talking to Jack Stump and him addressing kind of how they were going to deal with retending, you know, some of the retention ponds, and him promising they were going to treat for mosquitoes. And honestly, I don't know if that ever even came to fruition, because personally in my neighborhood, I feel like the mosquitoes are worse than ever. Just like the other people on OK have said, the water's worse than ever. And I hope that the community, the developer, the council, the city, everyone can come to a solution that works. And I just hope we can all work together for that.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to make a quick clarifying point regarding the pump to the river.
Wait,
Well, I don't want to
Judy.
close it.
Okay, you want to close it? Good, good. Great, Councilman Edwards.
On the pump to the river, that would primarily affect everyone besides Colonial. Colonial would still have to take on all their water to their detention pond and meter it out after everybody else's water is taken on. So the pump to the river project is for the benefit of the neighboring neighborhoods, and maybe eventually Colonial once everybody else is pumped out. I just wanted to make that clarifying point so that you understand, because I heard two people talk about it. Say again?
With a pump to the river, they will.
Okay. Yeah.
Miss Judy wanted this read during this time.
Okay, I'll say it one more time because I don't think they heard it. The primary purpose of the pump to the river is to take water from the neighboring communities, not Colonial Club, from the neighboring communities and get it out faster. Colonial Club is generous enough to work with the parish to donate the land and the servitude to do that, but they won't benefit from it because they still have to take on all their water into their detention pond and meter that water out after everybody else flows.
Which is the law. That's the law. The law is that they have to. You want to. Come on, because Ms. Sue's kind
Move
of
to
like
grant
my.
the lady 1 minute to
Yeah,
ask a
she's like my department head over on that side. She's kicking it.
Okay, so my question about that is, there in the I know it's going to be amended, but there's something in that agreement that says that if we get pumped to the river, then the developer gets to develop the retention pond or detention pond.
So
Surely the pump to the river must be addressing there.
There's a clarifying amendment to that. Because right now, they're required to take on all the water that they took on pre-development. So they're already taking on your water, pre-development in the pond. And so if that pump, so what we're saying in the amendment is that pump allows them to increase their detention area, then they can develop that. Only if the study says that they can.
Right. Okay, I understand that, but
that amendment it will be presented Monday night.
Okay.
Thank you.
No.
I have one more comment from Miss Judy, yes. Comment from Miss Judy Johnson. She emailed it in this afternoon about the development agreement. She said, I have been opposed to this development.
Okay, good. Come on, guys.
Quiet, please.
Well, we just couldn't hear you.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I have been opposed to this development since the beginning due to the lack of infrastructure on the property and the disruption of the surrounding areas upon construction of that infrastructure. However, since previous councils at least attempted to protect current residents, I thought possibly it might work. However, I vehemently oppose this new development agreement as it strips most of the protections for current residents. Allowing all traffic, whether construction or new residents, to enter and exit on Colonial Club Drive is a catastrophe, as this residential street was never built to sustain that much traffic. Ignoring the traffic studies, which, by the way, were not introduced to the public, is dumb to say the least. Also, the previously proposed holding ponds to protect the area from flooding were not adequate, and now even less so. For instance, for every mature live oak tree that is removed, you are adding between 100 and 300 gallons of water to the drainage problem. Has anyone made allowances for that? And will the root systems also be removed to prevent sinking of the soil when they decompose? As to the other problems being glossed over by this administration for the sake of obtaining $750,000 from the developer, I can only say shame on all of you. You have betrayed the public's trust.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Okay, anybody else wants to come speak? Okay, public hearing is now closed. Yep, public hearing is now closed.
If the council wishes to have discussion, that's fine, but I move to defer otherwise.
Second, to defer.
All right, a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbro to defer, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance is deferred till Monday night.
Motion for 5-minute recess.
Second.
5-minute recess. All right, we're going to call the council meeting back to order. Madam Clerk, where you at? I'm going to call the meeting back to order at 8:41. Councilman Buddy and Madam Clerk, here we go. There we go. All right, Madam Clerk.
Okay, before we move on, Councilman Buddy had he requests to move possibly the June regular council meeting, which is scheduled for the 17th, to either the 24th.
What I'd like to do, if it's at all possible, is move it either to the week before or the week after on a Thursday, so June 10th or June 24th.
I think moving it after would probably be better, being that we have this ordinance that is going to have a little more time to lay over with the.
Yeah,
the zoning.
I'll tell you, I'm out of town the entire week, that June 24th week, but we can move it to the next week. It doesn't have to be a Thursday if we're moving it. So if we wanted
No,
to
it
move
doesn't.
If we wanted to move it to the 29th or 30th of June, which is a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday is, I will be available on Tuesday.
What about the, hold on here.
Haven't said it yet, but I'm gonna make myself available.
You're unavailable Tuesday and Wednesday?
I'm available at Tuesday, yes, the 29th.
You are available?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm available on Tuesday, the 29th.
No, push it up into 6 o'clock.
June 20
So
June-
just out the whole day.
June 29th?
June 29th?
Works for me.
Tuesday?
The conflict, are you out of town? Is that? the
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Buddy to move the June council meeting to June 29th. Do I have a second? What's that?
Tuesday, June.
Tuesday, June 29th.
For the same time, Mr. Buddy?
Same time.
Same
Yeah,
time,
whatever
7:30?
time's convenient for the council. Same time.
7
Regular
o'clock?
time, 7 o'clock.
Yes.
So you're saying 7:30. All right, so do I have a second? Second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. June council meeting will be on the 29th at 7 p.m. Tuesday,
Thank
the
you very
29th.
much.
So now we have more time for the public to consider the.
That's
ADA.
right, absolutely.
We'll make sure to get all that out to everybody.
All right.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Okay, we already took a proposed ordinance 2021-9 and proposed ordinance number 2021-10. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman. Who would like to second this one? Chatelain?
Why do I not have this?
Which one where you at, Nicole? 2029 or 20?
2021-10. We did one
Okay,
at the
okay.
beginning. Yeah. So that's an ordinance
I'm
amending the City of Harahan Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, Section 19, Planning and Zoning Commission relative to membership of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
And that was seconded by who, Madam Clerk?
Chatelain.
Councilman
Okay.
Chatelain.
Okay.
Public hearing.
Okay, so I'm sorry, just reading over it. All right, so we have a motion to open for public hearing to talk about proposed ordinance 2021-10, an ordinance amending the City of Harahan's Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, Section 19, Planning and Zoning Commission, relative to the membership of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Would we like to now open for public hearing? Ms. McGee?
Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, ma'am, we missed you.
Nate
We're ready.
Cazenave, Oak Avenue, Harahan.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I missed y'all.
We missed you.
We missed you.
I would imagine you did miss me.
We did.
Okay, I'm reading this from Judy Johnson,
Mhm.
and I have to agree with her, because we were both on the Planning and Zoning Board a long time. I think we need clarification of this ordinance, since it calls for the elimination of the position of the members who resigns. It is intention to reduce the number of persons on the zoning board? Or is this an attempt to change the quorum number to make it easier to get things passed by the board, which would seem unfair? Since the council routinely ignores what the board recommends anyway, it hardly seems worth it to change the law. Also, the law currently calls for members to attend 75% of the meetings in a year. Has that number been verified for current members? And what is the status of the staggered terms for the current members? The new members were not appointed to replace anyone, so their terms were not noted, nor has any training been set for them at this time. Since they have not been trained, could the city attorney comment on the validity of any vote taken for these members? I know the city attorney is not here, but can you comment on this? You made the change, Mr. Asbill.
Yes, ma'am, I'll comment on it. What this does is, our current ordinance requires us to have 9 members on the Planning and Zoning Board, whereas the state law only requires us to have between 5 and 9. So I'm just bringing our ordinance in line with the current ordinance. And part of it is due to the problem we had 2 planning and zoning meetings ago, where it was, where I believe it was sabotaged by people just not showing up and resigning at the last minute, not being able to replace them. Therefore, we failed to have a quorum. So what this does is, if you resign before we can appoint a new position, that position is eliminated until we can appoint a new position.
Do you intend to appoint somebody? Do you want to keep it at 9 people? It
Yes,
should be
ma'am,
9.
absolutely. I want to keep it at 9 people, but if someone resigns the day before, or 3 people resign the day before the meeting, their positions will be eliminated, and we will appoint them at the next council meeting.
So you'd still be able to have your meeting?
You still be able to have your meeting on the meeting date.
Yeah, because it doesn't read this way.
Well, I think it does.
Right.
When you want to eliminate somebody, you want to eliminate that position. You don't say that you did not say that you're going to reappoint.
Yes, ma'am. It says that position shall be considered eliminated until such time as it may be filled at the next, or at a regular or special meeting of the city council. It says that. It's
Well,
underlined.
Jason, is the effect of this, if we had 9 members, someone resigned, then technically we would have 8.
That's correct.
And
And
you'll
so-
work
Until
so
we
your quorum would be
appointed-
You'll
six.
work the quorum off the 8.
Until we appointed someone else.
well, suppose you don't want to appoint anybody for quite a
that's-
few months.
That's the board's
Then you,
option.
well, right, so you
This
reducing the
board,
number.
ma'am, I think you've seen twice or 3 times in the last couple of years where we've been very efficient in naming new board members. In past years, we went years without naming new board members. So, I mean, I can't speak to future boards, but this board has shown that they want to have a fully staffed planning and zoning board.
Well, I know when we were on the zoning board, we never went a long time without a full board. And we were on the board for quite a number of years. We had very little turnover. And lately, it seems to be that you're having a lot of turnover.
I'll tell you,
Yes.
Ms. Magine, I'll tell you, you've got my commitment, that there will, the vacancy will not last longer than 2 regular meetings.
Yeah, find somebody to take the spot.
Well,
Right.
Subject to
If
us,
nobody wants to take the position, then the council can't be held for that, Ms. Magine. If we try to,
But if nobody wants to take this position, Ms. Magine, I'm gonna nominate you, and I hope you volunteer to do that for me.
At this time, I don't want to accept that position, that's for sure. Because what's going on at Colonial Club was going on when we were on the zoning board.
Yeah,
That's how
exactly.
many years Colonial Club has been
Exactly. Thank you.
in it. I tell
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Majine.
Ms. Majine, it's good to see you again.
Yes, ma'am. We're so glad.
Oh.
Where's she at? She's typing in? Why is she there?
All right, next.
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
All right, public hearing is now closed. I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is closed. Madam Clerk.
Council discussion.
Council
Yeah, we gotta
discussion.
vote.
Y'all want, I'm sorry, council discussion?
So you think it would be good just to go with the state minimum, being 5 to 9? Not up it up a little bit, maybe 7 to 9 or something like that? I mean, I'm just worried about, because is there really gonna be 4 people missing? That's
Well,
gonna be on
so-
the
Was
list?
it the last meeting?
Well, it was 2 last time, and then
Yeah.
2 just never showed
Oh,
up.
I'd like to address Ms. Majine and Ms. Judy
Two
Johnson's
resigned and
point.
3 didn't show up.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd like to address Ms. Majine and Ms. Judy Johnson's point because she's exactly right. Back in the day, board members didn't try to silence the public by choosing to not show up.
Right.
Well, two planning and zoning meetings ago, board members, 3 resigned and 2 just decided to not show up, which I didn't think it was very fair because it kept the public from being able to get up and communicate. And it's just something that it was terrible, Ms. Majine. And I know that you and your members back in the day would have never done nothing like that, but it was done. And in an effort to keep progress in the city, we have to figure out some kind of way. But you are exactly right.
I'd like to,
Somebody that hasn't been just appointed, make a decision as to what's going on in Colonial when they know nothing about the things that is going on.
So you're exactly right again, because we had a brand-new appointee that abstained from the vote because he needed more time to, and he called me and said, this is where my feelings are, and I said, and he's actually from this field. He's in construction, so he has a great grasp on zoning, and he actually chose to abstain. So again, that new member there is that, we're honored to have him, and even for him to have the wherewithal to say, hey, I don't have the knowledge to make a decision tonight. I want to talk and hear the points, but I'm going to abstain until I become more educated. Exactly.
I think they need more people on the zoning board with construction.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, exactly. We are,
Ms. Majine, I'm sure we would all love that, but I mean, one, we need people to volunteer, and then we try to go out and ask people, and there's a lot of people that just don't want to take part of the board.
yeah.
So, I mean, I know when you say we try to fill vacancies as quickly as we can, that's if there's somebody that wants to take the position. Like, I served on planning and zoning too. I had my reservations when I did it too, so I can only imagine. But some people just don't, not many people are willing to serve. And those that are, we are very grateful for them.
and that's why we appreciate the members so
Oh.
much.
Yes,
Yes.
On our own.
yeah.
And I'm sure this board,
Even if nothing came up.
and Ms. Major, I have no doubt that this board is doing that now.
Yeah.
But please know, we try to fill the position as quickly as possible if there's somebody who's willing to fill the position.
Yeah.
That's all.
I have a couple of comments and a
To
question.
answer your question, Councilman
Yeah.
Johnson, I'd like
Oh.
to just keep it at this, whatever the state
Okay.
regulation is.
Yeah,
but if you
I
can-
understand you're trying to keep from being sandbagged with people
Right.
not
That's-
showing.
But also just being
on that-
consistent with the state.
On that same aspect, though, we had 9, 2 resigned, so that would have, if we would have went with 7 to 9 on here, it would have brought down to 7, and 3 never showed up, we would have still had a quorum.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. But whatever. It's not that big of a deal to me.
Right.
I just want to know your
I
mindset
just
on it.
wanted to keep it in line with the statement, and
Gotcha.
all. Yes, sir.
Okay, Councilman Buddy?
The beginning on, toward the end of line 19, the sentence reads, should the vacancy be due to the expiration of a term, the member shall continue to sit until replaced. And it's just a question or a comment. Should that say pending vacancy? Because if they're,
That's current language.
well, if they're going to continue on until replaced, there is no vacancy. I'm just throwing it out for your consideration.
I think
And
that was, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that was just the regular verbiage that was already in place,
I'm
correct?
just saying, we're taking an opportunity to address this.
I got you.
And I've got one other comment for the board to consider,
I'll
but
tell
go
you,
ahead,
that
sir.
language is also state law.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Well, zip that.
Right.
Okay, the next one, and it may be state law also. If I'm reading this correctly, if somebody is appointed due to a resignation, midterm, they serve the rest of that term,
Person's term.
and then one more full term, as I'm reading this. So I'm wondering if we don't want to make that, allow that to be two full terms.
Where are you at? I'm sorry.
Line 18, well, the first sentence, actually. For a term of 5, I'm reading on line 18. 5 years or the remaining term of an unexpired term with eligibility for reappointment for one additional term.
I'm not sure if that's state law. I don't know.
Well, if it's not, I don't know what the board's thoughts are on it, because I believe we all operate under the understanding that if I'm appointed midterm, Maurizio was kind enough to be appointed midterm, then he serves the rest of that term, and he can only serve one more 4-year period. Well, you're really just getting up to speed. You know,
Right.
that board, like many areas, you got a huge learning curve.
Extend it to 2 terms?
And if a person is willing to serve, say, 10 years, as I'd like.
I don't know if it can necessarily go that far. though.
I'll commit.
I think it can, because I know it's completely different, but during elections, I know Mayor Bodier, he was in that predicament.
Councilman for about 10 years.
Where he came in as a half a term, and then he was still able to do 2 terms after that. So I don't see why it would matter for a board if you did that.
So this is the current language. I'll commit that, I recommend that we pass this, and I'll commit that I will check in to see if that is state law as well.
And-
And if it is not, then we can come back and amend that as well.
And before we do that, I mean, if the other council members would comment, if you're willing to consider that, if you think it's good, then we ask Councilman Asbill to pursue it after we vote on this. But if there's not a majority that thinks extending it, keeping that qualified board member there, not term limiting them out after, say, 6 or 5 years, letting them serve. So, but,
I
so,
agree
okay,
with you.
I made, Councilman Asbill, thank you for your commitment.
I'll point out one other change to this.
Yes, sir.
And it's the term consecutive is added. We only allow 2 terms of 5 years per term. The state law actually says it's 2 consecutive terms. So they can serve 2 consecutive terms, sit out, and serve 2 more, and sit out and serve 2 more.
But the debate is that if they come in on a half a term,
Right.
is that really considered a full term?
Right,
That's the
right,
debate.
I understand. So that's the other change in here. Any other comments? All right, move to approve.
All right. Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve proposed ordinance 2021-10, seconded by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. The ordinance passes.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, ordinance for introduction.
All right, ordinances for introduction. This is proposed ordinance number 2021-11. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman
Take it.
I'll take it.
Wheeler. An ordinance approving the final re-subdivision plat of Lot A2B1, Soniatter Chapatoulas Plantation Subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, into Lot A2B1A, Soniatter Chapatoulas Plantation Subdivision, and Lots 9 through 13, Colonial Place, Phase 1, all pursuant to a plan made by Ronald Clement, PLS, dated September 24th, 2020, last revised as a final plat on May 5th, 2021. Okay, proposed ordinance number 2021-12. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Buddy. An ordinance authorizing the approval, adoption, and execution of that certain amended and restated development agreement for the residential and commercial redevelopment of the former Colonial Golf and Country Club by and between J.W. Colonial Group LLC and the City of Harahan.
Point of order. Councilman Buddy, since we're working through a new amendment and a new version of this, and so the public is not confused, can I request that you go ahead and withdraw this version, so that, first of all, we don't confuse the public, and that we can work from one solid copy of it?
I have some reservations about it because I want these comments to be public. Sir?
Yep, leave it there.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's leave it there.
but I want everybody to know that we had some productive meetings today. I did, made some progress. I don't think I'm there yet, but it was a positive meeting. And I'm willing to withdraw it, and certainly would expect to withdraw it after, what is it, Councilman Asbill, 2021-8
Yes,
is
sir.
amended and voted on. Because effectively, if 2021-8 passes in any form, my proposed ordinance is moot. And I would withdraw it
Okay.
at that point in time. I guess I'll say, my plan is to withdraw it.
Eventually.
I'm not gonna push forward with an amendment after an amendment is passed.
Okay.
We'll leave it here for now.
Thank
I wanna
you,
leave it
thank
here
you
for
for your
now. Thank you.
consideration. I appreciate it.
Okay, proposed ordinance number 2021-13, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1909, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021 for the capital project fund of the city of Harahan, Louisiana. This is for police and fire, and that ordinance is proposed by Councilman Asbill. And proposed ordinance number 2021-14. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman. Who would like to propose?
I got it.
Chatelain.
Chief would like to make a comment.
On number 14, can we put that on special? Because y'all just pushed the date back to June 29th, and the audit's due June the 30th.
I would rather not take it back. I would rather not take that out of a special meeting.
Yeah, not a new ordinance. Not, in fact, so I don't think we can.
Yeah.
I don't, because it has to
It
lay
would
over.
have to be advertised, like if you're adopting, and, you know, if you're adopting an ordinance or a resolution.
It'd have to be advertised in a newspaper. For a
Yeah.
special meeting for what we're doing,
I
we
just
don't have
thought
to advertise it in the
To
newspaper.
our,
One day,
I'm sorry, yeah.
maybe one day.
Because it looks like the June meeting's June 29th, and the audit's due on the 30th.
Chief, for practical
It's a lot of
reasons,
work.
the audit's gonna be,
I'm sorry?
the audit will probably be printed
Prior to that.
on, if we met on June 17th. From a practical matter. I'm not gonna speak for postal way.
Okay.
I just don't think we can move that
Okay.
to the special meeting.
All right.
No, you can't. No, not enough time for advertisement.
So the title of that ordinance is an ordinance amending ordinance number 1885, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020 for the general fund of the city of Harahan, Louisiana. And old business, there's no old business.
Before we move on, can I show my ignorance and ask Councilman Asbill what AEDs are? Oh, thank you. It rang a bell, but I could not remember. Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, new business, number 1, Todd Tunion, Finance Director, monthly financials with budget to actual comparisons.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just a brief update from the finance team. We, as the chief mentioned and others have mentioned, we are working with the external audit firm on the annual financial statement audit as of and for the year ended December 31, 2020. So it's in process, and it's due to the legislative auditor's office by June 30th, and we expect that the auditors will meet that deadline. We continue to project, and we finalized the December 2020 numbers internally, that the 2020 amounts present an increase in net assets within the general fund, as we had previously communicated to this council and to the public. Two other items just to mention to the council, mayor, and the public. One is that in May 2021, we each year make a payment on the outstanding bonds that the city has on its books and that it owes. And so we process that payment this month for this fiscal year. And what that means is the city only has 2 annual payments left. So there's a 2022 payment and a 2023 payment, and then those bonds will be paid in full by the city.
And how much is that payment?
That's about $230 to $240,000 a year.
There is no reserve fund for those bonds, correct? Like
So-
there is with the DEQ?
So actually, there is
And how much is that?
$240,000.
So we really have one more payment left?
That's a correct observation. There's only the 2022 general fund budget will have an expense for the debt payment, because the 2023 payment will be covered by the reserve fund.
That's great.
Which could be available to pay them off. So we could consider bonding out other things. Now,
Yeah, so
we'd
if we
to
have the
a
bond
reserve
fund and we pay the 2022's bond, can we just pay the last payment of the 2023's as well if it's held in reserve?
I suspect we could.
We
We'd have
can
to
reach
read
out
the
to
wording.
legal counsel, but I'm sure that we can, yes.
Some bonds may have prepayment prohibitions,
Yeah,
because they
hopefully
want to
you
make the
wouldn't,
interest.
Yeah.
And what about, maybe is there accrued interest throughout the year on that? Okay, no. All right, so never mind. So if there's
But
a
Mayor,
prepayment
the
penalty,
point being, you wouldn't have the budget in 2023 for that payment.
Correct.
In 2022, we have the budget for it, because we're going to make it around
Correct.
this time in
Correct.
2022. But after that, it's available funds.
Correct. Uh-oh.
It's just, no, it's important. That's a lot of money.
No, I know it. Look.
And then the last item, just to mention, we've been focused on the audit and the December 31, 2020 amounts, but we do get notifications electronically of many of the ACH electronic deposits that the city does receive. We receive notification on the Entergy deposit, that we get that, as Patrick Hamby was here earlier tonight. And the sales tax deposit that we received last week was $244,000. So as the mayor talked about economic development and things maybe coming back to normal, that's the highest sales tax amount that I can remember in the last 2 to 3 years. A normal month is 200 to 210. It goes up and down, 197, 210, 208. It goes up and down in that range. But it was 244 this month, last week. And so we'll continue to monitor that and see where it lands next month.
Gotcha.
Good news.
So that's the finance report for this month. Happy to answer any questions the council members or the mayor.
I don't have any questions about that, but I do have the question about that ordinance that's going to be coming up on the 29th. Is that, if it ends up passing, will they give you enough time? I mean, I know it's a day.
That's a
Or is that an amendment you can do? You can file an amendment to it? or-
right. So there's no amendment to the audit.
Okay.
That's a question for the external auditors. I can reach out to them tomorrow.
Please.
And I'm happy to reach out to them and ask and get their feedback. Honestly, with the June 30 deadline, we would be ready to go absent any council action at the June 29th
Right.
meeting. But I would need their approval and okay.
Yeah, if you can find us out the
Yeah.
information, that would be great.
I can call tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Todd.
If, and Todd, I'm sorry, I don't know if I should address this to you, but regarding that same proposed ordinance, 2021-14, the account 010-29-350 fund balance decreased by 99,000. What fund balance are we decreasing?
So to make a balanced amendment, or to make the amendment balance, we adjusted the budget in the expenses by 400,000. There was only one revenue line item that we could adjust to offset those expenses, and we adjusted that revenue line item to the maximum amount that we could, 303,000 or so. And the difference to make the amendment balance has to come from the
general
fund
fund.
balance or the general fund balance.
Okay, well, how was you've answered my question, but now I've got another one. The CARES Act funding of $303,965, which is additional, I guess, a transfer to the police department's budget, correct? I'll get with you later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. I'll talk to you.
I just
Just-
don't
I'm
want
not
somebody
following.
to say that we were discussing it and they may have left, because because it is just first reading.
Sir, ma'am?
That was my only concern. If this is first reading, I just didn't want
I
discussion
know.
to continue and somebody
I
left.
know. You're
That's all.
correct. Thank you. You're correct.
Okay. And new business number 2, St. Rita's School requests permission to sell beer and wine at Family Fest on school grounds on Saturday, May 22nd, from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m.
So we should. Public hearing.
Okay.
Jason goes, what if we deny it?
Anyone want to come up, discuss about, we're going to vote on this, right? Anyone want to come up, discuss new business number 1?
Number 2.
I'm sorry, number 2. Nobody coming up. We're now closed. Okay, Chief said we'll have some 2 officers on the detail. All in favor?
Yay.
Yeah,
Wait, wait.
but
Oh, Lord. Oh,
Oh, stop it.
Lord, sweet mercy.
I want to go on record amending it to 10 o'clock.
it's over at 9.
Okay.
The ban is at 9.
Okay, we have a motion on the
extend
floor
it
by
till 10.
Councilman
Okay,
Chatterling to amend new business number 2 from 9
Second.
o'clock to 10 o'clock, second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
Yeah.
All right, amendment is
That
now,
makes sense.
it's now
Right, I'm
amended.
sorry.
Okay,
I
do
thought
I
we
have a
finished
motion
today.
to approve new business
Moved.
number 2? Moved by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman
Second.
Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. It is approved. Madam Clerk, new business number
I'll pay
3?
the difference in the detail.
New business number 3. The St. Rita Church requests assistance in planning the annual Feast of Corpus Christi procession by providing barricades and/or a police escort. The procession is scheduled for Sunday, June 6th, after 11:30 a.m. Mass.
Chief? All right, Chief says he's got it taken care of. Do I have a motion to approve new business
Moved.
item number 3? So
Motion.
moved by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. It is approved.
Then they can all come to the farmer's market after.
That's
Yeah,
right.
just leave
Yeah,
them right
process-
next to
process
the
Just
them right over
second lot
here.
them down Jefferson Highway to the farmer's market.
All right, new business number 4, Planning and Zoning Commission nomination and appointment.
Okay, I have a nomination for the planning and zone, for you guys to consider for planning and zoning.
Who resigned?
Huh?
Who resigned first?
Miss Barbara,
Butera.
Miss Barbara Butera, I'm sorry, Miss Barbara Butera resigned, and so it left us with an opening, and I would like to see if you guys would consider appointing Mike Ricks as the next planning and zoning member, so we can keep this board full and keep Miss Majine happy.
Mike, did you know about that? No, just-
Mike, just want to let you know, Miss Beijing will be watching that you attend these meetings. I just want to let you know, Rob. She is a pit bull. All right,
I will second that nomination.
all right. Did I get a first?
Oh, I thought you said you did.
Well, he
Oh,
can't.
okay, well then
I'll
nominate Mike.
second.
I'll
and-
second. Or-
All
okay,
right, so
whatever.
moved by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Welcome aboard, Mr. Ricks. Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Congratulations.
much.
Thank you for agreeing to serve.
Thank you very much.
Tough one.
You sure about that?
Okay, so we'll now come to address the council. If anyone would like to address the council, state your name and podium, state your name and address at the podium.
It is like the Hunger Games.
They said that being on a planning and zoning board is like going to fight at the Hunger Games.
That's it.
You got that
Maybe
right.
odds be in your favor.
Maurizio Francescon, 239 West Avenue. Do want to thank Mr. Ricks for accompanying us now at the Planning and Zoning.
Real quick, I'm going to interrupt you. Hey, I want to congratulate Mr. Maurizio Francesco on being nominated or becoming the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And thank you for your service, sir. Thank you.
And I also do appreciate the changes made because I did share my opinion on aspects of, whatever the case may have been, members not showing up, resigning, whatever. But I just feel that planning and zoning is a chance for people to voice their opinion. And at the Planning and Zoning Board, I was appointed chairman, something that's new, something I'll get used to doing. Wasn't expecting it, but I appreciate it, and I'll figure it out as I go. If I have any questions, I know who to call. So, but no, I think it was important to allow people to vent, as not structured as it may have been. I think it was important to let people vent and say what they had to say, because that's probably the largest planning and zoning board meeting that we've had. That was the largest planning and zoning board meeting we've had
Ever?
that I have been on since, I guess, a little over a year. So, and I always recommend everyone coming to the Planning and Zoning Board. And next Planning and Zoning Board meeting will be more structured. than it was last time. So I can prepare a little bit better for the next one that comes up, since now we have a direction that we need to go in. Next thing is just, I know the Monday meeting is probably not going to pertain to this, but I know you had talked about a pump to the river, and I couldn't help but overhearing behind me, people just still not understanding what they mean by metered. Okay, I understand it. Everything has got to go into Colonial's reservoir, whatever.
The
They're-
detention pond?
Right, and then of course it gets metered out. And then of course people are like, oh, how are you gonna make water go uphill? So again, a graph, again, and this is probably not just pertain to Monday's meeting, but I guess in the future, make people understand that obviously there's gonna be a separate line associated for pump to the river versus the drainage of Colonial. So it is metered out there. There is a pipe that meters the water to that ditch right there on Colonial.
Yes, sir.
So just,
Good explanation. We'll
Yeah.
get you to give it.
Yeah.
that's fine. Give me a graphic. I'll explain it. I have no problem explaining it.
You will be here Monday? You'll be
Yeah,
here?
I'll be here Monday.
Okay, good.
I'm off Monday. I don't go back to work till Tuesday.
Okay, good. Good.
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'll address it to what you're saying, Maurizio, since you're bringing it up. I didn't want to bring it up on this, start the hornet's nest tonight, but in the middle of that, I did ask Scott Tabb with Duplantis Design Group if he could be here Monday and maybe just open that meeting up for 10 minutes and try to make an attempt to explain this is how metering works, this is how ponds work, this is how it's, I'd ask y'all that we probably need to keep that to a time frame because the questions will go crazy and, the
Yes, sir.
explanations. But I did ask him to be here. Right now, he said he's pretty sure he can make it, so.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, man, that's awesome.
Good evening. Tom Drosh at 329 Halsey. So just for the record, we wanted to kind of bring to attention, we've got about a dozen or so households at the end of Halsey that we actually have no drainage. We can't tell if the streets have covered up the drainage. We even have one resident who has a pump out there when it rains. My daughter and I have the house, so she's 24. I don't expect her to put a pump out there, but it's you're right. Well, yeah, and that's Statty's job, but that's been an issue. So I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to get it on the record because it's actually a hazard because when it floods, and we've got pictures of this, and we talked with Mr. Baudier, invited him to come out there and chat on to come out there. Maybe to brainstorm about what we can do because, like I said, you can't see when you go to get out. We've increased our driveway. We still run the risk, though, of having a second vehicle that would flood out. We've got mosquitoes because the water will stand. That's a problem. And it's also a sanitation issue because that water also happens to move the garbage cans around if you're not careful. It actually, like I said, there's no place for the water to go. And obviously, it's affecting property sales and in property value. So you'll probably hear that from some of our other residents too. But definitely wanted to invite you out there. I think we've got an invitation, so I welcome you guys to come out there. We'll make
And
arrangements.
you said it was 324 Halsey?
329 Halsey.
329.
It's a section right there. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
but
been
it's
out there
a-
numerous
Oh, yeah.
times,
Yeah,
and
me too.
The water, another thing, I mean, the water sits there for days after the rain.
Yes.
And I mean, I did notice that we spoke to maintenance. I believe it's more an engineering issue now. It's not a drain or something we could clean. I believe they've never had drainage back there.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, and we've heard various things. Yeah, I won't put on the record the things that we've heard. We have heard that maybe because it does look like there was some asphalt work, and it's very odd that, as we did a survey, that's the only section that actually has no drains. If you go around every place else, there are drains. The next drain is at Nimitz, so it could conceivably be that they're covered up. There's also a culvert that runs, a buried culvert that I understand. We'd have to take a look at plans that run behind it. There may be a temporary solution. Obviously, the best solution is to do something like the rest, of the streets and run the drainage there. So we wanted to get that on record. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And ma'am, I wasn't saying that it's his job. I can just see my daughter and I call my husband saying, Dad, can you come hook up this?
Well,
Because
you know,
it's
we
water.
get the call, I have to take my
Right, I
shoes off,
understand.
I have to roll my pants off.
It's not your
And
job.
I'm like, "No, that's why we're in this meeting, maybe we can get this, and Dad doesn't have to pump.
Okay, well, we will certainly look into it.
Thanks.
Well, that's wonderful news, and that's why I came also. I'm Kay Franz, and I'm next door, 323 Halsey.
Oh.
And I want to say real quickly, Mr. Mayor and council members, you are doing a wonderful job because my house is for sale. And the day that it was first shown, 17 people came to look.
Nice.
Not everybody, I mean, they were driving around the block, waiting their turn.
Wow.
I got 11 offers, so you're doing a lot of things really well. I renovated it for about the past 4 years, but I need a condo. Condo living's calling me now. But anyway, here's my problem, though. Took the top offer, which was a nice thing to be able to do, and the guy really, really likes the house. In fact, I think he's from Harahan originally and wants to move back. And but the inspection was Tuesday. If you remember, everybody does Tuesday. We had a monsoon all day long. The street was flooded, of course, and so was most of my driveway. And water even went under the house, which I've already had sand pumped under. The man really wanted the house, and after the inspection, he said, I want to come back. So he came back 2 days later, and under the house and my driveway were fine. Street still had water. So he called the city. He wanted to see if he could figure out a way to make drainage more efficient from my house, my yard, to the street. And whoever he spoke to said, well, there is no drainage, and we have no plans to give you all drainage. So he canceled. So it's back on the market. So, I mean, I'm just pleading, surely there's something that we can do to alleviate, our little section of the street. But thank you for all the good, positive things you're doing in Harahan.
Thanks, Ms. Kay. Thank you. One more. From Halsey.
Hi, thank you for everything y'all do. Y'all do a wonderful job, and I'm very pleased, Mayor. I've seen him out in my neighborhood before when we had a little drainage problem right off of Halsey. But I, they're my neighbors. I personally don't have the issue in front of my house. The guy across the street has it from me. He wasn't able to come tonight, and the gentleman that left before, he just had a root canal done today and sat here through all this. And he's like, I gotta go. I'm like dying. So, but he has the pump in front of his house. Y'all, it's so sad. Every time it rains, this poor man's out there with a pump. He's the one, if you go all the way to the end of Halsey, the house turns, the street turns, and he's a yellow house. It's all glass in the front. Beautiful home. And I'm gonna tell you, the mosquitoes in our neighborhood carry you away. It's awful. We built this beautiful addition into the back, put a nice patio cover. I buy the things at the feed store down the street. Oh, you can put this on an acre and you won't have, mosquitoes. It worked probably 1 year. I have 4 out on a small lot, and it's not, we have to wind up starting a little fire to try to, kill them. It's really, really bad. So, anything that y'all could do to help relieve that, and, it's a nonsense kind of thing, but I know everybody has told me since I've moved there. I laughed because when I moved there, I told my husband, you got to get a pair of shrimp boots because all the men wear shrimp boots in our neighborhood. When it rains, you have to have shrimp boots to go outside to get your garbage or to do, just pick up after a storm or whatever. But thank you for everything. I appreciate each and every one of you and everything you do for the city. Do you know, did he say? Oh, onto the street. Onto the street.
Well, that's a local.
Yeah,
one.
that's it.
Yeah, he does pump it to the street, right?
Okay, I haven't seen the pump out there.
Right. No, he does it by hand, some kind of pump one of the neighbors gave him. It's crazy.
I'm gonna go to the hardware, I'm gonna get him a couple more hoses, I'm gonna buy a couple more pair of boots.
But when I tell you.
We'll go buy some ramps, we'll pump it over to Colonial. Danny? All right.
But I've actually, kind of walked around after a big storm, and if you look down his driveway, I hate to see his backyard. I really do, because I think it just backs up. I mean, I don't know how they park. I don't know how to get out of their vehicles without getting, their feet and all wet. But anyway, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys were so nice. I promise you I'll put it at the top of my list. And I've been back there so many times.
I know you have.
And because we've had, yeah, I mean, I've been back there dealing with issues between neighbors. I don't even know how I got involved in that one. But next thing I know, I became a mediator between neighbors. And we noticed it, we noticed that there's only certain spots where there's drainage. And the truth is that I never would have known if y'all wouldn't come tonight. So we just encourage everybody, come out and, instead of complaining, come call and say, and my office is always here, and I know every one of us answer our cell phone anytime, day and night. So we'll just go look at it, we'll try to get some idea where we're going, and then we'll go try to start hunting some funding down. I mean, we'll work with we'll go, hopefully, we're really hoping that the session goes back in at the end of the year, and we'll be back up in Baton Rouge. They're gonna get a bunch of money, and if I'm really not hamstrung with the money that I have to use to stick into the sewer plant, because we do have massive issues there, I promise you, just because you were so nice and came here, we will try to figure something out, for sure. You got it, thank you. I'm so sorry about your house, but on that note, I had another neighbor on Roseland. She put a house up on Monday. She got offered $10,000 over ask and sold it on Tuesday. I'm coming, I promise you. Yeah, no rain. Let's hope.
When would that be?
Thank you, guys. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a safe night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Secretary's report. Total revenue for April, $463,686. In reports,
Chief?
Wait, that was,
that's what I had.
wait, I'm
Is it
sorry,
wrong?
give me that amount, because my agenda's blank.
Y'all want to amend it?
No, that's
We
okay.
got the financials late. It's a little late.
Harahan Police Department stats for the month of April 2021. 830 calls for service, non-auto accidents. Citations issued were 162 for 248 different violations, 6 patrol requests. Arrests for narcotics were 18, charges were 33. There were 22 felony, 7 misdemeanors, 4 city charges. Other arrests were 73 for 126 charges, 11 felony, 92 misdemeanors, 10 city, and 13 traffic. Person and property crimes. As I mentioned before, we had that 1 murder last month. No rapes, no robberies, no residential burglaries, no non-residential burglaries, no attempted burglaries, 1 motor vehicle theft, no attempted motor vehicle thefts, no larceny thefts, and 8 assaults. Thank you.
All right, sorry, lost my train of thought there. Councilman Wheeler got me off topic. I'm sorry, y'all.
Sorry.
All right, we back, I lost my reports page.
Reports.
Okay, we back in reports. All right, Chief St. Cyr's not here. Councilman Asbill?
No report.
Councilman Buddy?
I hope everybody comes out to the parade. This is going to be a Harahan hoot. I'm so looking forward to this. The other thing is, I want to thank the mayor. I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you.
I think it's very informative, and I hope you keep it up.
Yes, thank you. Councilman Chatelain?
No comment.
Councilman Johnston?
Happy Father's Day, since they always get left out,
Oh, that's
But-
true.
So happy Father's Day, everybody. And also, May, if next time we can get one of these little things for that microphone over there, so we don't have to
Absolutely.
keep swapping out, that would be great.
Absolutely. I was actually enjoying that.
Yeah.
Like, Councilman Wheeler?
Yes, please come out and support the parade, and I would also like to congratulate my son. He is graduating from Brother Martin tomorrow. I'm gonna cry. I know. And congratulations to all of our high school seniors in Harahan. I know there's been some great things. We have some national merit scholars. So again, I just want to congratulate him and all the seniors. And yes, I guess happy Father's Day. And please come out to the parade and support the farmers market too.
Yep. I just want to say, repeat what Councilman Wheeler said, Happy Father's Day. Please come out to the parade, it should be a good time, you know, and I'm really looking forward to bringing our farmers market back. So thank you. Madam Clerk?
All right, pay bills. Bills paid in April. Total expenditures, $735,754.12.
No executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Johnston, all in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Did you say nay? Oh, 5 yeas, 0 nays, we are adjourned.
Yeah, I'm about to say.